We are starting live. All right. Should be able to see it on my page now.
Real Madrid winless at home in their first La Liga matches for the first time in 22 years. They finished sixth.
Who's Real Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not doing good. All right, can you see it? Let me see what's good. I'm kind of getting a rough throat. See if I refresh this, it should show that I'm live here. Yes, sir. Does that look good to you? Do you think I need to adjust anything?
I think it's fine like that.
Okay. If you want to go ahead and start sharing that stuff out, I will.
You already shared it.
Okay, on both.
Yep.
Starting in a minute. Alrighty. Yeah, for the giveaway could be the cup and shirt against it, and I got it right front and center, so. Go over things. Champions League. Yeah, I highlight some of the games. I like Dortmund and Real Madrid play each other. Juventus needs to win because they lost bad, so they played Olympiacos. Atletico Madrid and Chelsea. This one, PSG and Bayern. And they both won their first games. Okay, 7 o'clock. I wonder if I can.
We went from 6 to 4.
All right. Go ahead and get started at 7 o'clock on the dot. All right. I'd like to appreciate everyone tuning in. I know some of you are going to be coming in, coming out. Some of you will be watching this live. Some of you watching it later. We'd like to like everyone who's joining us right now to episode number 9 of Texas Soccer Live. I'm, as always, here with my partner in crime, Raul Villarreal. He's a little under the weather today, but he's going to do his best because we have a ton of soccer to talk to you about today. Just kind of give you a rundown of the order of things in case you're watching this on playback or you watch the recording and you want to skip to a particular part. We are going to start off over in Europe. We're going to be talking about Champions League that has started again with some exciting matches and some good ones coming up next week. I'll give a little rundown of some of the highlights of the European leagues that are underway. We will then talk about the World Cup qualifiers and the unfortunate situation USA finds itself in now. Then about midway through, we're going to switch over and talk about your Dynamo, who are in a playoff fight as we speak. They are now below the line with only 6 games remaining to try and make the playoffs. And then finally, we are at the mid-season mark of Liga MX, so it's a good time to have a mid-season check-in and kind of see what is turning into be a very unpredictable season, to say the least, even more so even to Liga MX standards. So before we get started, though, last time we were on was before school went back for a lot of people, Hurricane Harvey and everything. So obviously our thoughts and prayers and good wishes go out to all of you that are still dealing with all that stuff from the storm. We hope everyone is safe and well, and hope that everyone was able to is able to recover. And I know you're still in the process of recovering, so we our thoughts with you. But we are glad to be back, and we are here talking soccer finally after a month. So we're getting started. Besides being sick, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty excited for what's to come. Obviously, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on around the world right now, so we haven't been able to keep up with a lot of soccer because a lot of stuff is being postponed and a lot of tragedies, but we're going to try and bring you some exciting content today that is coming up. Even though there's some tragedies going on, try and uplift people's spirits with some good soccer stuff.
I'm glad you said that because I mean, not only for those of us here in Houston, but obviously if you attention to the news, and it affects the soccer world too. Mexico has been dealing with 2 earthquakes, and we'll talk about that. All the games this week are obviously not going to take place; they're postponed. So, a lot of natural disasters, a lot of issues have been directly impacting the soccer world. So, we want to make sure our thoughts are with all those people as well. Hey, let's jump right into it. I know you mentioned there's some really exciting Champions League games to start, and it's interesting to see who's emerging. We've had round 1 all of a sudden popped up, and kind of give you a rundown of the group stages. We have only 1 game, so obviously there's only 2 winners. So real quick, some of the notable winners. Man U was a winner, Bayern Munich, PSG, Chelsea, Roma, and Atletico Madrid tied, Barcelona, Sporting Portugal, Liverpool, Man City, Monaco, Real Madrid, Tottenham. Your usual suspects winning. I think what shocked me in this first round of games where there were 3 teams that lost me. My biggest shocker was the guys who were in the final last year, Juventus, looked like a mess. Although they are in a very good group, I want to bring that up, they did not look their normal selves, and they haven't been themselves in Italian league play either. Kind of what are your takeaways? What are your thoughts as kind of Champions League starts?
Champions League has been pretty interesting, honestly. The way that some of the groups were set up, some of them have it easy, some of them have it very hard. It's going to be hard to get one team out of there because obviously, like you said, you had Juventus who was doing so good last year and they made it to the final and they failed to Real. Now look at them; they're not doing so good. Yes, I mean they could get out of that group stage, but it's not looking so good for them. Hopefully they can. Oh, it's just starting, so hopefully they can dig themselves up from the hole that they're getting in right now.
Yeah, their first game was against Barcelona, and Barcelona blanked them 3-0. So they haven't even scored a goal yet. But they're also in a group with Sporting Portugal, who's one of the top teams out of Portugal, and Olympiacos, which is a top team as well. So, I mean, they're in. I mean, if you want to talk about a group of death, if you will, of teams in Group D is pretty tough. The other one that shocked me personally was a team that we've been really high on all the time. That's Dortmund. Dortmund started off with a loss, losing 1-3 to Tottenham Hotspurs. And in that group we have Hotspurs, Real Madrid, Dortmund. So some top teams in that. That's a pretty tough one as well. Thoughts on Dortmund? I mean, do you think it's just kind of think they'll get on track, or you think they'll be able to get out of this tough group?
I think they'll be able to get out of it. Obviously, it's just starting, but I can see them picking themselves up. I feel like if they win one game, they'll get into rhythm and they'll gain the confidence and they'll start moving up. And I feel like they'll get out of that group.
Yeah, a couple matches. Those you want to tune in, if you're not familiar with the Champions League, I said this is a year-long thing. We're going to see the finals. This is going to go on until next summer, and it's the top teams in Europe. If you're not familiar with it, and the two games coming up that was interesting to me on the 26th next week, Tuesday, Dortmund and Real Madrid play, which should be an exciting match. With Ronaldo's now back in for everybody. He was playing with them in Champions League, and he's been out in La Liga with the ban for pushing the ref for 6 games. The other interesting game to me is on Wednesday, and that's Juventus with a chance to bounce back. And then you have the 2 teams in that group, Barcelona and Sporting Portugal, playing each other. The big one for me, though, that I want to see, and I think potentially could be huge, and I'm kind of an early predictor. I think with the way PSG's playing in their league, with Neymar and everything, PSG, I think, could be a favorite to actually make it. I mean, I know they made it far last year, but I think they're one of my early picks. And I think the way they're playing, we could see them again, definitely in the semifinals. They got a big test, though. They're going to play Bayern Munich, who is also in the semifinals. So, exciting games next week if you want to check out Champions League action. Kind of switching gears and looking at some of the European leagues. The Premier League has been pretty nuts lately in terms of just some of the young stars that emerged. We talk about all the time how Liga MX is always unpredictable. It's kind of turned into that in the Premier League, except you have basically 2 rivals now at the top. Manchester City and Manchester United are the 2 top dogs in Premier League. Only 5 matches in. but these guys are crazy dominant, killing people, blowing people out. They're tied for first with 13 points. Chelsea has bounced back after that embarrassing couple loss and tie to start. They're in second. Kind of, what are your thoughts? What do you think we're going to see in Premier League? I mean, it's kind of interesting to see both the Manchester teams so dominant so early.
I feel like this year it's going to be different. You're not going to see the normal top teams up there. It's going to come down to maybe like 1 or 2 points for a couple teams in order to qualify or to fall. Obviously, goal differential is one thing that helps a lot, but it's not going to be your normal season. You're going to see a lot of new faces. You're going to see some old faces. Obviously, it's still early in the season. They still have a long way to go, but this is just one season that I feel like is going to be very different. Like I said, 1 or 2 points could make a very good difference.
Well, what's not different is typical Arsenal, getting their fans' hopes up and then just being mediocre, sitting in 12th place right now.
Yeah.
So you've heard us on the show talk before. We're not fans of Arsene Wenger and what he's doing and the lack thereof with Arsenal. Liverpool's been interesting. It's been kind of a struggle. And once again, Tottenham, Spurs are up there, but they choke in big games.
Yeah.
So I want to see these guys. I have no doubt they're probably going to end up in the top 4 again. It's interesting though. Chelsea, I think a lot of people foolishly threw the talent on them at the very beginning, like what's happening to these guys. I think they've sorted things out. I think Chelsea is going to reemerge here, and they've been on a hot streak lately going forward. So it'll be interesting to see. Newcastle's kind of the new team that's been up there. And one thing that I was looking at, just things going on there. One team that's really sank. I think it's kind of sad. You look at their history. Is Everton. Everton has sank all the way to 18th. It's had a proud history. I almost thought if there was one game that stood out to me yesterday before last, Everton and Man U played each other. Wayne Rooney went back to Old Trafford, and the game ended up being 4-1. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's a blowout." It was actually only 1-0 until about the 82nd minute, something like that. Actually, it was 4-0 is the final score. Up to the 82nd minute, they were only by 1. Wayne Rooney had a chance to actually equalize it. I said that would have been absolutely nuts in my mind if he'd gone back and beat his old team. But then you had these younger guys like Lukaku and some of these other young guys all of a sudden rattle off in 9 minutes or 8 minutes, rattle off 3 goals and just put them to bed. So there's no shortage of goal scoring with Man U and Man City. A lot of the other games have been, and we talked about this in Mexican League, there's been a lot of ties in all soccer right now. I don't know what's kind of going on. It's been kind of a up and down thing.
See, the thing about Everton is that you leave a team that is completely built to a team to where you're the star. Mm-hmm. You don't really hear about upcoming stars coming out of Everton. Obviously, he was one of the stars that came out of there, went to Man U, and became even bigger. But now that he went back, he doesn't have the team that he had before. You don't have that offense. You don't have that defense. So obviously, it's going to be hard for you to be the number 1 star and try and play defense and offense at the same time. It's just not going to happen.
Well, and it's also apparently a problem of his to stay sober and drive. If you didn't see the story, Wayne Rooney was drunk driving. I think did you see a match? No, it was a fine. I think he paid with community service. I was about interested in that story. I'm not, maybe I am insinuating here, whatever. But the story said, when I read it, not only does his wife and children were on holiday, on vacation, out of the country. So he's out drinking, okay, whatever, with the buddies. Okay, when you're Wayne Rooney and you're a star, do you not have someone in your entourage that can drive your butt home? I mean, really, and on top of that, he didn't get arrested in his own car. It said he was driving another woman's car.
Well, he has a lot to explain when his wife gets home.
And he said this thing where he apologized to his wife and family, embarrassing for the drunk part. But it's like, if you read that story, that's the one line that stuck out to me. I was like, you got pulled over for drunk driving in didn't say who it was, but some a woman's car. And I'm driving another woman's car. I'm like, there are just so many things in this story. I'm like, when you're a star of this level, I mean, what are you thinking? And especially something like, what's shocking about this is Wayne Rooney is not his first time around the block. I mean, he's been the face of English soccer, if you will, for a decade. And it just amazes me that, I mean, it just shows you that we're all capable of making dumb decisions and mistakes, no matter who we are. But he may have some explaining to do to the wife after that one. Switching gears, going south down to Spain. This one has been an interesting start. We talked about at the end of last year, Champions League, La Liga, and then with Neymar leaving, the mess that we thought Barcelona would be in. Obviously not. 5 games in, so far so good. 15 points, 5-0, steamrolling people, hat tricks from everybody on the team around. Messi in fine form, and then other guys, even with their big signing, Dembele going out and getting injured the next 6 weeks, still just rolling people. What do you think is it? Do you think they're for real, or is this just? I mean, I'm just kind of wondering. This Barcelona, I'm having a hard time figuring it out because I don't ever write off Barcelona, but they were at a pretty low spot in terms of mentality and the players they lost, and to come out this dominant, I did not expect it. I thought they were going to have a slow start. I knew they'd obviously be one of the top 2 teams as always, but it's something that I think there's something going on there in Camp Nou that people should pay attention to. I think they have some magic going on there.
Yeah, obviously Neymar wasn't a big loss to them. They're still the top team. It's not that there's. Well, to me, I believe that they finally got their act together. Not just player-wise, obviously, the president, the staff, and everybody. I feel like they finally got their act together because not that long ago, we were seeing that they wanted to get a new president. They wanted to clean up the house and get new people.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel like they got their act together. It's still same old Barcelona. You're never going to see them at the bottom.
No.
You're always going to see them at the top. But the thing is will they be able to hold this when it comes to playoffs?
In a very long season between that and Champions League. I mean, to give you an idea, they put up 6 goals. I know it was on Ibar, but they're just steamrolling people recently. They have, if I'm not mistaken, give me 1 second. They are Girona coming up, and they got Sporting in the Champions League stage. So they got a pretty easy schedule start. I think their biggest league challenge will be Atletico Madrid coming up in October 14th, so still 3 weeks away before we see them really challenged. But so far, so good for Barcelona. So far, not good are their rivals over in Madrid. Real Madrid, an absolute mess right now. The one thing you talk to people, if I were to tell someone, Champions League champions, come back and win another first cup off the bat, they can't title. On top of the world, killing everybody. If you're going to tell me 5 games into La Liga that Real Madrid was going to be sitting in 8th place, I wouldn't have taken that bet. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
Real Madrid, obviously everybody expected them to come in swinging and being on the top, but I believe last year that this year was going to be Barcelona's year. Obviously, they had very, very bad luck last year. They fell short to points. Champions League. It was just embarrassing for them. On the other hand, Real Madrid was just trophy after trophy after trophy. So
yeah, Champions League, Super Copa, I mean everything.
Yeah. So now that they come in and everybody sees them at the bottom, obviously they're gonna pick themselves back up. They're not gonna fall. I mean, with that type of talent on that team, with that coach that they have, they're not going to be in 8th place for long. But what I do feel is now that Barcelona is really strong and they've showed that Neymar wasn't that much of a loss, Real Madrid would have some very tough challenges. It's gonna come down to the points again. I feel like this year will be Barcelona's year.
Yeah, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. We can't forget that, and it's tough for most of us. A lot of people who don't follow European soccer. I mean, this is, especially if you're a Champions League team too. It is a long, grinding year. A couple of the teams just kind of run it down. Barcelona's in first, Sevilla in second. No surprise there. Sevilla and Atletico Madrid is in third. Those 2 teams we expect to always be around there. Valencia, Real Sociedad, Real Betis. And then you got Real Madrid coming in there. Interesting game this week in La Liga. My pick for a game to watch would be Atletico Madrid and Atletico Bilbao, which has moved up to, I believe they moved up into the right behind Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid's been kind of shaky. They've always been like my dark horse candidate, and they did not have a good finish in the Champions League. They haven't had a good start. I mean, they had a tie against what I feel is a pretty weak Roma team, but they're a team to watch because we ask this every year. When are we going to get a legit third or fourth team in La Liga to compete with the top two? I mean, when's the day going to come that we're not automatically talking about Barcelona, Madrid, Barcelona, and somewhere in that order, And I don't know. Both Sevilla and Atletico Madrid have the talent and the ability on the team, and the coaching, in my opinion. But it's just putting it together in these bigger games. I found this one interesting in La Liga. This is an interesting story. Celta Vigo is a team in La Liga, and if you're not familiar with them, they're ranked 17th right now. They're usually towards the bottom. An old team, proud history. They got fined by the league because they didn't have enough fans in stands. Low attendance. I found that very interesting because we don't have. Can you think about all the U.S. sports teams, including our own Houston Dynamo, not just soccer, that would be fined for low attendance? I mean. Not to call any of you out, I'm going to cross over sports here, but some of you that claim to be Astros fans, I didn't see you at a lot of the games. Now that we're in the playoffs, everybody's going. But it's like the Dynamo, a playoff fight, not a lot of people there. It'd be real interesting if U.S. sports teams started getting fined for attendance. I mean, that's interesting that, that's a normal thing in European soccer. But I just find it interesting. They've been warned. Not enough fans, so we're going to fine you. And so you're making your pay. In other words, we're wasting our time broadcasting you on television. We don't have fans in the stands. So, interesting story out of Spain. This is Ron. Let's switch gears. Speaking of attendance, because you brought this story to my attention about Atlanta.
Atlanta, obviously, it's a new team that just came in this season.
It's the MLS.
Steamrolling the MLS. Everybody thought that they would fall just like Minnesota.
Like a typical expansion team.
Yeah, but they actually came in. They showed that they are strong. And what really made me mad when I see this, they got a new stadium in Atlanta. They got a new stadium. But the thing is, it's a football stadium.
Yeah.
And they managed to fit in 70,000 people in one game.
It's a regular season game.
Yeah, regular season, not even playoffs, not even an introduction game, nothing. Regular season game, 70,000 people. They managed to fit 70,000 people in one game, and Dynamo hasn't even done that all season.
And I think it was on the same weekend that the NFL started, and you got, the reigning NFC champions, Atlanta Falcons in your town. And that shows you that they are competing on this. They're getting the same number of fans coming to Atlanta United soccer games as they are going to Atlanta Falcons. Hey, my hat's off to the Atlanta fan base because that's a good sign for U.S. soccer. What it doesn't do, it doesn't make us look good at all.
A team that's been around for a while since they played in Robertson down at U of H.
Yeah, I'm calling you guys. I get it. Recently we've had a trade. This is nothing new though. I'm calling all of you out. That you say you're fans of these teams, but it's not expensive to go to these games. But I'm sick and tired of seeing this, the pathetic. I mean, I go to these games and it's like I get an entire section to myself. I don't get it. I don't know what else it has to do. I mean, we have a soccer culture now, and I'm crossing over now. I'm calling out. I'm not. And you're going to talk about the Astros. The only team in this town that consistently, no matter how bad they are, is the Texans. They have their season ticket holders. Which bows my, I get it. We're Texas, we're football, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But you have teams in this town that are in the playoffs and in the fight for the playoffs and are not getting the respect. I don't know what we got to do to get people down into the stands. The prices are not outrageous. If you disagree with me, disagree with me. I want to hear it. But it's ridiculous that an expansion team can be pulling 70,000 people and averaging now. I think the average, I know that was one game, but their average is still 50,000 fans a game.
If anything, they just lose 20,000. Dynamo can't even probably get like 1,000. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, forget it if it's a weekday game. If it's a weekday game, forget it. The only time the Dynamo can even manage to maybe get someone on a Saturday. And we got 6 games left. 4 out of the 6 are home. All right, we are below the playoff line. We're not in the playoffs right now. You know the story we told you about the Dynamo, that they have not won on the road. They only got ties. The pathetic road. That is what it is. But they've been dominant at home. Even with people and playing to half-empty stands, they still have been winning at home. And maybe you say, okay, well, then it doesn't matter. Well, it does when you get into this situation because psychologically, it has to, at this point with the Dynamo, we can switch gears there, it has to be something in their head psychologically that's not letting them win. I don't know, maybe they don't think that they have a city that's behind them or what the deal is, but it's absurd when you have that quality of a team. I'll give it to the fans. The Dynamo have not put out a quality product the last couple of years. This year is different, and I'm annoyed that we don't have more support.
To me, if a winning team does not get you to go to the games, then what will?
Yeah.
What is it exactly that these fans want? Obviously, it's like if it's to get like high quality players, then and that's how to get you to go to the games. Then don't bother going because you're just going for that one player. That's why it's like if we get Cristiano Ronaldo to come, everybody's gonna go. Why? Because everybody wants to see Ronaldo play. If we're winning games at home, go because I know this because I've seen it before. If the Dynamo get into the playoffs, the tickets will be gone like that.
Oh,
It'll be gone.
Yeah.
And then the guys that actually go like every game and they make the effort and they actually follow them, they're not going to be able to go. Why? Because all these bandwagons come and it's like, oh, the Dynamo, my Houston team, made it to the playoffs. Let me go watch them now. If you aren't there during the season, just don't go.
Well, my first theory on this, several months ago was that Houston when you have everything, you get complacent. And we're a big market town. We have every major league sport except for hockey. And I think my first thought was, okay, Houstonians, we get kind of complacent, right? Unless it's the season, unless it gets closer and we get serious and whatnot. But, that's what made the Atlanta story that you shared with me even more angry because Atlanta's a big market town. Yeah, not the same sizes, but they have NFL, they have NBA, they have a baseball team, and they have the same sport we have. And in some, I don't know if they have a hockey team. Maybe they do. I don't know. I wouldn't watch hockey. But the point is that their passion level has stayed the same for most of the teams. Maybe the Braves because they're terrible.
But me personally, I didn't even know they had a soccer fan base.
Oh yeah, you don't think of Atlanta, Georgia as a soccer town, but guys, it's bad. It's a bad look when the expansion team Atlanta United are showing up. An established two-time champion Houston Dynamo. I mean, and it's a problem around the league with the exception of a few teams getting consistent people. Anyways, we went off the rails there. We'll stop chastising you, the fans, and move on. Real quick, back to Europe. Just want to just keep going in on the news here. Germany, pretty much the same thing you would expect. Bundesliga, Bayern Munich on top with 12 points with 4 games in. Dortmund right behind them with 10 points. And your usual suspects all trying to compete behind them. Italy, this is the interesting one. Napoli is all of a sudden surged to first. Juventus is second in their home league. So I take that back. I was wrong earlier about them not doing well at home. Inter Milan at third, AC Milan in fourth. I think I have Torino in fifth, Lazio sixth, and Roma, as I expected, Roma was going to take a fall after Totti retired, and a lot of the players they lost and got robbed had fallen down. What's interesting to me about that, the team we said to watch about a month ago was AC Milan, because the AC Milan bought, it felt like 10 players. All big names, lots of money. It hasn't panned out, but I will say this: they're not the perennial. They're at the top now. They're not mid-level guys like they usually are. Hey, breaking news coming in. Chelsea is selling Costa for, was that 72 million?
77 million.
77 million. So Diego Costa is going to be leaving Chelsea for 72 million. Did it say where he was going to?
It did not say where, but 77 million is a lot.
So Diego Costa gets his wish, I guess, finally, and is out. I'll look that up while we're doing that. We'll do that. Last thing with Europe. Any surprise that PSG is train rolling? Just going over people.
Obviously, we've seen that PSG was. They have quality players
the
already.
The new trio, MCN.
Yeah, they have quality players. Obviously, Neymar going over there was just a huge bonus
This is huge. This is huge. Breaking news for the first time on Texas Soccer Live, because we have this stream coming in behind the scenes here. Diego Costa from Chelsea, $77 million, going back home, so to speak, to Atletico Madrid. I was just talking about Atletico Madrid being a legit, excuse me, third team in La Liga. Let's see if Costa has some magic in him. He's only 28. And he wasn't happy. He's going back to his roots. So, obviously, Atletico Madrid's pretty happy. So, interesting to see, which makes that game that I was talking about this weekend. I was highlighting La Liga, Atletico Madrid, and Bilbao. I want to see them go at it. Yeah, not a surprise. I mean, Neymar's. There was that. Okay, the soccer media in the United States is not like, is weak compared to everyone else. So we don't really have a soccer media. It's very, very small. You see that story about the supposed argument between Neymar and Cavani, and I don't buy it. I'm sorry, that's BS. If you didn't feel, there was a story with a penalty shot that Neymar and Cavani were arguing over who was going to take it. They've both been playing great, and the media over in France and in all European soccer has been trying to say, "Oh, it's a sign that these guys aren't truly." No, I don't care. You know what I care about? 18 points, 6-0, scoring goals like crazy. They don't care. They're competitive. It's like two guys. If you and me are two top scorers on a team, I like that because they both wanted to take that penalty. I think when you have someone who automatically defers, I would be discouraged if I'm a PSG fan and I see the other guys just deferring to Neymar. Oh yeah, you go take it. You go take it. No, it's a sign of how good your team is that you got multiple guys who are like, no, I want the shot. I want the shot. I want the shot. I want the shot. I like that. Now, you don't want it to become a big distraction, but, they had a little thing. They made a decision. Take the penalty. By the way, they scored the penalty. Won the game. They move on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's not gonna cause them from winning games and gaining points. It's stupid if you're gonna let that get in between you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't spend so much money for two of my good players to start arguing over penalty kicks. That's stupid.
Yeah, and it really tells me these guys are on a bigger mission. Winning a French title is not enough. PSG's won enough of those. You can definitely tell they're a team that's on a mission when it comes to Champions League. Monaco, no surprise, right behind them in second, and then you got your perennial third place guys like Lyon and Bordeaux trying to keep up. But the French league, as I say, I'm not anti-France. I'm just saying that it's not that exciting. Okay, I'm not going to go. That's not the first, the third. Even the seventh league I'm going to go to. It's like who's going to win. I can pretty much predict the score line every week. All right, switch gears. World Cup. I don't know what to say. I'm not going to go off like Alexi Lalas did the other day. Alexi Lalas, if you didn't see, absolutely tore the U.S. men a new one during this halftime on Fox. And it was on ESPN, but he works for Fox. He pretty much went into everyone. Tim Howard, Altidore, Bradley.
He basically said,
Dempsey.
all the hot shots, I'm calling you out. Everybody who I didn't call out, you're not worth my breath. Basically.
Right. And, some people got mad, some people like that. It's his job. He's a commentator. He's supposed to, it's kind of a shock jock sort of thing. He's supposed to shock you. But what I don't like, and I thought this was unprofessional, Michael Bradley, the next day, responded. And I like the first part of his response. First part of response, he was on Toronto radio, plays for Toronto FC. Michael Bradley, the captain of the U.S. men's soccer team, says that, hey, if you're in this sport, if you can't handle media critiquing you, you're in the wrong business. And, I have no problem with that. He's absolutely right. I agree with it. Had he stopped there and said, okay, we're going to get our act together and get rid of these arguments, that would be fine. He then went on to say something along the lines of, well, when we do well, we're not going to forget about those who doubted us, sort of thing. And I'm like, the way the word, I'm like, what is this, a mafia hit or something? I mean, are you threatening Alexi Lalas? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the World Cup and then go punch Alexi Lalas? I mean, what is this threatening nature?
You have no say in that because what you should be worried about is being able to qualify to the World Cup because the way it's looking, you're nowhere near it.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be responding until after because obviously it's going to be a laughing stock if you guys don't make it because you gave a mean response and you decided to throw a shot at him, and all he's going to do is he's going to throw that back in your face with an even bigger shot.
Yeah. Here's a message from Texas Soccer Live to Michael Bradley. Shut your mouth and show it on the field. You want to come at me now, some random guy in Houston, Texas, with a Facebook page? Like, he probably will. He probably will. If this gets out, trust me, someone please share this, tweet it, whatever, at Michael Bradley, at USA Soccer. And I'm sure he's going to take time out of when he should be training his butt, getting ready for the next 2 games that, oh, by the way, are must-wins now to make it to the World Cup. I'm sure he'll probably take the time. And he wasn't over then. He then went on to make another statement. He says, one of my favorite quotes lately, I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, one of my favorite quotes lately is that lions don't concern themselves with the thoughts of sheep. Okay, first of all, buddy, that's not a new saying. Okay, it's been around a while. Okay, you didn't like have some revelation that oh my God, I have this thing about the lions. And first of all, you're not a lion. You know why? Because lions don't get punked. Lions take care of business. Lions lead. Okay, you're using a metaphor when in fact Michael Bradley and the U.S. men's team, Dempsey, Alter, you guys are the sheep. You're the sheep blindly following, and you trusted, you think Bruce Arena, now he's going to fix everything for you. No, you still got to play. And and the young guys who want to be the stars of the future, you either need to step up and shove these old guys out of the way, or the old guys, if you can't get it done, step out of the way and let these young guys take the lead. Because I'm so sick. The fact that we are here, September of 2017, and we're talking about it in this day and age, with the quality that U.S. soccer has progressed in our lifetimes, and we're talking about that a U.S. team can't make the World Cup, that may not be in the World Cup. We're legitimately saying that is ridiculous. If
they don't win this first game that's coming up, I believe it's going to happen October, the first week of October.
October 6th against Panama.
That's a Friday. If they do not win that game against Panama, and obviously I believe they lost to Panama.
Mm-hmm. We have a history of losing Panama in time. The tie's not good enough.
If they don't win, they're going to come down to either being not at the World Cup, or they're going to be depending on someone to lose for them to get in.
Yeah, because the standing, I just was looking at it. We're down in the hex system. Got to be the top 3 to automatically make it. We're currently sitting in 4th. Mexico's automatically qualified. And it's not a shoe-in. Panama jumped us by a point, and so it's the game that you control your destiny right here. You win, you jump them, and you're up by 2 points. And in theory, Trinidad and Tobago should be an easy win, but I'm not counting that out. That's the slam dunk that puts everybody away, because that 3 points, done deal. Panama can't come back in. Here's the sad thing: I can see them getting hyped up and beating Panama, and then dropping the ball against Trinidad and Tobago, and Panama wins their game and comes back. I forgot who would be playing next. But it's like, and then they would still lose. You got to win both. Because you have to assume that even if you beat Panama, you have to assume that Panama is going to win their game, the next game.
Yeah, and then
you have to assume.
Obviously Mexico is not even worried about it. It might even come down to having Mexico have to beat a team for them to qualify. But
which is dangerous.
For me, I would... If I were Mexico, I would throw it in. Why? I'm already in the World Cup. I have nothing to worry about. My plane ticket to Russia is bought, and I will be there. But it's
you know who Panama plays after us? Mexico. So you know what I'm saying? We're relying on Mexico essentially to put away Panama. Mexico's experimenting with their roster right now. They have a luxury. These games really don't matter. They don't matter at all. They're just trying to perfect their roster. They're trying to figure out their formations.
Mexico's going to go in avoiding injury because they know that they have to take these guys to the World Cup. So They're going to avoid injury. They'll probably play the first half, take them out, sub them in. Obviously, that's an advantage towards Panama, but a disadvantage towards the U.S. if they do not win.
Yeah, exactly. And just to give people a rundown, and we'll finish up our little World Cup section here. As we said, for North America, Mexico's the only team so far. We have a round of qualifiers in October, and then the final round, I believe, is November, is kind of a formality for teams. But this is it. In the next 3 weeks, we're going to see about half, if not more, of the World Cup slate, be formed, but who's going to be in there. So Mexico's in for North America. already automatically been qualified based off of points. Nobody is, let's see, Brazil is automatically in already from South America. Everyone else is still competing. Let's go Mexico, Brazil. In Europe, Belgium has got themselves in. Russia automatically qualifies as a host, even though they're terrible. So that's 4 teams. Here's what's interesting to me: Asia on the rise. Asia has already had 4 teams. Their guys, and they've played their qualifiers in advance. But you have Iran, Japan, South Korea, and Saudi Arabia have already qualified. Those 4 are in, going to Russia. And Africa has not had any qualify, but once again, they're going to have several. They have 5 slots to fill. What's interesting is that Europe has the biggest with 14 slots. If you look on it, you go to FIFA, North America, it says we have 3.5, and like Africa, for example, has 4.5. The half comes from means is that automatically Asia gets 4, for example, automatically, that's 4.5. North America automatically gets 3. The 0.5 from each of those is who's the better 4th place for us, 5th place for them. So the better 5th place, if you look at the 5th place Asia team and the 4th place team, which is us right now in North America, it's who's better out of those. And actually, I believe it's a playoff. I believe they play each other now, the playoff system. And you don't want to get down to that situation. It's silly. It's ridiculous. Any other thoughts before we move on in terms of just World Cup stuff and. We're getting there. Countdown's on.
Yeah, counting down the days to the World Cup. Should be pretty interesting. I'm waiting for it. I have something in the works for the World Cup. I can't confirm it yet. It'll be pretty interesting the way plans work out. But if it does work out, I'll put out a big announcement. But as of right now, World Cup, I'm ready for it. I'm waiting for it. Obviously, it's going to be crazy time schedules, but I mean, if you're in for the World Cup, I mean, you got to be ready for it.
Yeah, we're going to be watching games at like 3 in the morning, Russia time and whatnot. So get ready for a lack of sleep. For those of you that are going to be working long days. Before we move on, we already mentioned the Dynamo, but I do want to mention a couple things coming up. We mentioned our frustration in them. Just so you're aware, coming up, they have a big away game this Saturday against New York FC, which is their second right now in the East, killing people. They come home next week, the following week against the Galaxy. Then they have another home game. We have a back-to-back homestand, which is critical, Galaxy, Sporting KC. And then they actually will go on the road against Sporting KC and in the season home. I know the last home game is Chicago, and Mr. Schweinsteiger coming to town. So, like I said, this is not easy. They are on the bubble. They are currently, outside looking in. You got to get behind them if you want them to go. Next week's home games on the 30th against the Galaxy, and they have a little break in the 11th of October. Those are 2 critical home games. If you want to go out and see your Dynamo, and you call yourself a fan, you want to support this team, those are games to go to. The reason there's a break, and I thought this was kind of a cool story came out, there's actually going to be a game taking place on October the 5th against Liga MX team Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul is going to be coming to Houston, so if you're a Cruz Azul fan, good opportunity to go out and see him. What's cool about this game on October 5th, and here's what I'm actually telling everyone to go to this game, because this does directly impact our community. It's a charity game. All the full starters are playing and everything. It's a full-on game, an interleague game between MLS, Liga MX, Houston Dynamo, Cruz Azul. All the profits of the game are going to hurricane relief, to Harvey relief. So if you want to go check out a cool game, it's not very often that we get to see these MLS teams play Liga MX teams, unless it's in a cup, if it's in a Champions Cup sort of thing. So it's cool, and your money is going directly to.
It's for a good cause, so
it's going directly to our city.
If that'll get you out to go to a game, obviously,
I'm not
throwing any like racial slurs or anything, but obviously a lot of Mexicans will be there because Cruz Azul is a big team. But I mean, they'll be out there. It goes to a good cause. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of damage around here. And,
yes.
A lot of this money will.
And the Dynamo already pledged $1 million, and then they put the profits of this game towards. I think that's cool. I saw Richard commented it's going to be an intense World Cup qualifier week. Yeah, coming October, it's not just for us. I mean, it's going to be nuts. It's nuts for USA. Like I said, we're going to see about a half to 2/3 of the World Cup lineup, be produced. Qualifiers be listed. Europe's going to get at least 6 or 7 more qualifiers in there. Africa will get their first couple. And we might see the next teams behind Brazil coming for South America.
I believe by the end of November,
By Thanksgiving.
we'll have the qualifiers
Yeah.
ready.
And I'm looking at you. I know a lot of you people out there. We're going to see who does it in South America. South America's going to do a very close race. I was looking at the point totals here between Argentina, Colombia,
How many slots do they have?
Venezuela.
4 or 5.
South America, I believe, had 4, but let me double check. There are 4.5 situations. They have 4 guaranteed. Brazil's already taken 1, so they have 3. My pick, personally, I'm looking at this. My pick is I'm going to say Argentina, Chile, and Colombia are my picks to be the 4 with Brazil.
I said, well, obviously Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and I think it's going to be a race between Colombia and Uruguay.
Yeah.
You have Cavani over there. You have Suarez. I mean, you have quality players there.
I will say this though: there are going to be 5 teams because whoever the 5th team is going to. I think they match up with Oceania or something.
Yeah.
Australia. So there are going to be 5 teams. I think it's pretty safe to say that both those if they're going to get in. But you're going to see some teams in South America that I think are good left out. Venezuela could be on the outside looking in.
Paraguay.
Peru was recently shown some promise. So it's gonna be interesting. This is it. So yeah, if you like World Cup action, this is the time to really pay attention to it. Okay, that's what I had for your Dynamo. Like I said, enough's enough. You got 6 games left, Houston Dynamo. If you're gonna make this playoff run, you better keep your home record up and get these 4, and show us something finally. It'll be very impressive, and we'll gain back a lot of confidence. Now, I'm telling you right now, if these guys go up to New York on Saturday and beat the 2nd place East team in New York FC, and they come back to half an empty stand against the LA Galaxy, and the sad thing is that there'll be a lot of fans out because it's the Galaxy, which is dumb. The one thing I'll say before we move on to Mexican soccer for our last segment of the show, the U.S. Open did finish. Remember, the Dynamo were in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open, a yearly tournament, played with all levels of U.S. soccer, MLS, NASL, all the way down to all 3 tiers. What was interesting to me is Sporting KC last night won the championship, the U.S. Open, against the New York Red Bulls, 2-1. It's a pretty decent game. Interesting, in the semis, one of the NASL teams, Cincinnati FC, actually made it all the way to the Final 4. Were knocked out by the Red Bulls 2-3. So there's been some interesting matches in that, but Sporting KC, which, by the way, 2 of our 6 games remaining are against Sporting KC, and they're in that playoff spot that we want. So very interesting as we go forward. MLS news in the East: Toronto is untouchable, 62 points with only 5. They only have 5 games left to play. No one's touching them. Atlanta FC has been surging. I think they're in 4th now. They're going to get in the playoffs for their first time ever. And in the West, you got what I call the Northwest trifecta. You got Vancouver, Seattle, Portland. They have a stranglehold on the West. Vancouver surged to the top. The next tier below that, you got your Sporting KC, Dallas, San Jose, and then you got us just hanging around. Okay, our last segment of the night we want to go to is Liga MX. So this is our Mexican soccer portion. We're halfway through the season. As we mentioned at the top of the show, there are no Mexican League games taking place this week due to the natural disasters, both the earthquakes and just the mess that it is down in Mexico right now and the recovery efforts. So those games, and we have an insider here. When are those games going to be replayed? What are the dates?
For Liga MX, obviously because of the earthquake, they will be postponed for the 17th and the 18th of October. That's when those games will play. So all of them will play. I'm not sure. I'm still looking into this. There is Liga MX coming up on Tuesday. I know that. But what I'm trying to figure out is if they're going to postpone it still or what's going on. But their priority was to take care of everybody first, and then they postponed this one. So I'm trying to see. We still haven't gotten word if they're going to postpone it or not. Hopefully not, because postponing 2 weeks of soccer, it's a major setback because coming towards the end of October, that's tying into playoffs already.
Right.
So I even believe that they're going to push the playoffs back because Tigres has to make up a game against Atlas in November. So it's going to be...
It's becoming quite a mess. 'Cause you already have this week coming up that was supposed to be a double week. Tuesday, Wednesday games, then your Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. Then you're adding another double week in October with Tuesday, Wednesday games, making up these games in your Saturday,
And
Sunday.
then you also have to play that weekend also, so it's going to be pretty difficult. And then on top of that, a lot of these Mexican
Qualifiers,
teams,
yeah.
a lot of these teams are losing players to the national team. I mean, I'm not trying to sound cocky, but Tigres loses 8 players,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be like a big blow. But I mean,
It's going to be, we have a lot of question answer. We've played 8, I believe, 8 or 9 games. We have 7 to go, so we're just over the halfway mark. When they're going to be played is interesting. It's going to be, all I know is it's going to be a jam-packed October. My gut is telling me that Tuesday and Wednesday is probably going to get postponed.
actually, everything that's going on, everything being postponed and all that. Obviously, right now on the table, they're only separated by like 1 or 2 points, which is pretty good. But what this does is having to play games during the week and then play on the weekend again. That's going to tire some people out, and that's obviously going to drop some. That's going to drop some teams, or that's going to pick them up. It just depends. But obviously, it sucks. But obviously, the people come first before soccer.
So, just kind of give people a rundown of Jason. Shout out to Jason who's joined us on the show. Over the halfway mark, only 8 games remain. Just so you know your current standings. My team, Rayados in first place with 23 points. Club America in second place with 17. Toluca in third with 16. Cruz Azul in fourth with 15. Tijuana in fifth with 14. And then we have a lot of teams with 13. Tigres in sixth with 13. Monarcas in seventh with 13. And Leon in eighth with 13. That would be your playoff teams if it happened today. You have Necaxa in ninth with 13th. Our new team, Lobos Buap, in 10th with 11th. Veracruz, 11th with 10 points. Your former champions, Chivas, all the way down to 12th with 9 points. Pachuca with 9 points. Querétaro in 14th with 9 points. Santos in 15th. Atlas, which we picked as an early season favorite, in 16th. Pumas, still at the bottom, in 17th. And lowly Puebla, probably going to be our eliminated team if it keeps up like this down in the bottom of those 7 points. All right. Overall, kind of my key takeaway, my 2 things overall we've seen this far in the season, so far in this year. Tons of ties, tons of red cards. It has been one of the most bizarre years when it comes to ties. This is pretty low, with the exception of where the Rayados are. The rest of this is pretty low scoring to have your second place team only with 17 points and third place with 16 points when you're already 9 games in. The red cards have been an impact. You've seen almost nonstop red cards every single game. So here's kind of my takeaways here. Obviously, my team that I follow, that I cheer for, Rayados in first place. They had a slow start, lots of ties, lots of that, but they seem to be following what I see as the Chivas model of last year, and that is, don't win all fancy, just win. Get your 3 points, get the heck out of there. Although they've showed some offense. The most impressive thing that I was pointing out to Raul the other day is that the one thing that, and I'm not trying to brag, I know it's my team, their goal differential is very impressive. They have 18 goals. They've scored 18 goals, and only 5 have been scored against them. So that's plus 13. Second, just to give you perspective, second place, Club America is in second place. They're only plus 4 differential. Rayados is plus 13. So that's a huge separation. Even if these other teams start catching Rayados, it's going to be hard to. They have the tiebreaker because people forget that your goal differential is a tiebreaker. So I will say that I'm very pleased with what I thought was going to be a rocky start.
That's why there's like 3 or 4 teams with 13 points. Obviously, Tigres is the first one in
With the
6th
best-
place
with the
because
best
they have
goals.
the goal differential.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, Rayados does look promising. But the thing is that it all has to follow up with playoffs because. I mean, we've seen it in the past. There's teams that make it into the playoffs and then they fall. It's just
Seen our friends in Tijuana have two consecutive first place teams get bounced.
yeah.
So
I mean, it's going to be pretty crazy. Obviously, with 4 teams with 13 points. I mean, it's going to come down to who gets the most wins and goal differential. Because ties like this, you're gonna be waiting for one team to win, another team to lose, and then that could cause you to move up or not. It's gonna be crazy. I feel like the refs and the red cards this year, I feel like it was an impact from last year. A lot of these players were getting too comfortable, and
we had the issue. We had the refs, protesting and not.
It got out of hand. So I feel like they have no tolerance for it. If you act up, I mean, that's it.
They're carding like crazy.
Yeah.
Before I get to, I want to end with a little segment where I'm going to say we're going to go through kind of rapid fire what we were surprised by so far in League MX, not surprised by, / what we expected, and then anything we want to add on. So we're going to do that in a second. Before I do that, I thought anything else that you would like to add in general. I know it's kind of interesting. You have an interesting perspective. For those of you who don't know, Raul's a member of the official fan group that's here in Houston that supports Tigres. They've been up to a lot of crazy stuff in terms of exciting stuff. In terms of, I wish my Rayados fans in Houston would get as well organized as these guys are. But yeah, let's tell them about some of the stuff you've been doing and kind of like what's going to be happening, some of the traveling you're going to be doing.
Well, coming this October, the first week of October 4th, I will be taking a trip down to San Antonio because Tigres will be playing Santos during the week, and then we come back home to Houston, and we will be playing Morelia on Saturday.
Which I will actually be going to.
Yeah, he will be going. I mean, it's going to be pretty exciting. We have some big stuff planned. If you want to see a good, crazy fan base, I say go and you see what's going to happen because I've been working on a lot of stuff. We have some upcoming stuff coming up. You're going to see some crazy stuff, and from outside to inside during the game, obviously if you want to see a good soccer match, so Tigres will bring some of their star players like Iñak and stuff like that. So I would say go.
And if you watch the games, pay attention to the banners from the fan section because this guy's been painting and creating a lot of the banners that are going to be huge up in the stands.
Yeah, we have some stuff that we already have made. We're working on this huge not flag, but it's a cloth, and it's going to look really nice. Like I said, if you want to see a really experience a very good, exciting fan base, I say you go to that game here in Houston. Obviously, you can't make it during the week to San Antonio. It's going to be crazy there too. But
yeah, October 7th is a Saturday here.
Yes, and then October 4th would be in San Antonio. That's a Wednesday.
So, real rapid fire. Let's start off with what we're midway through La Liga MX. Not surprised. For me, it's that Puebla sucks. I'm not surprised by how crappy Puebla is, and they're a team that should have gone down last year. They're going to go down this year, without a doubt. I'm not surprised by that. What are you not surprised by?
I mean, seeing them for the past years and these past seasons, obviously Puebla is not that promising. They just had Lobos WAP come up from Puebla, and they actually do look promising. They have some good players and stuff, but Puebla, I think they're just going to have to fall, and they're going to have to rebuild. But the thing is that normally when you fall to second division, you don't have the support like you do in the first division. You're not going to get as much money. You're not going to get as much help. And then like we see in the second division, we already know who's at the top. We always have Dorados up there, so it's going to be hard to see them. But I think it's not a surprise. I knew they were going to be pretty low at on the table. I mean,
any other teams where they're at right now that you're not surprised by?
Pachuca, I'm a bit surprised. I expected them to be. I would expect them to be a bit higher, but the thing is that I know that they're really focused on the World Cup of Clubs. So I know they're gonna go. They're going for that. So I feel like they're putting a lot more energy into that than they are into La Liga. But then again, I mean, we still have a couple games. I mean, they're not that low on the table, so I just expected them to be in the top 8 already by now.
Something I expected, and it's been happening, is I expected, based on what I was seeing in the first couple games, I expected Lobos WAP to be in the mix. I still say they are. I get it, they're in 10th place, but for a team that's just come up, my point is I have expected them to be taken seriously, and they have been taken seriously. I have lots of things I've been shocked by. My first one, I am shocked at how bad Chivas can be.
I will say this again, and I said it before, and it's just upsetting. To me, Chivas bought that last championship because when you win a championship, you just don't come back and you suck. That is not happening. Your players, they're high quality players. The game that I seen, obviously Tigres was kind of off, and I admit that. But Chivas, I mean, obviously in any league, there's always going to be some money involved. I mean, there's always moving money, there's moving pieces. But that game, if we would have gotten that penalty, that was clearly a penalty, and that ref, I feel like he should have been fired. If we would have got that penalty, the game would have changed because that penalty would have tied. So Chivas, I have no say with them. They're just upsetting. Obviously, their stadium is empty. The last time it was filled was that final.
Part of their title, yeah.
It's just upsetting. I'm not necessarily shocked. I'm just like, how do you come from winning a championship and then just absolutely not winning a game?
Well, I also love how quiet their fans are. I mean, I put them into the same category as kind of as Club America fans. There's a ton of you out there, but for there to be a ton of you out there, you're awfully quiet.
I would say this about America and Chivas. You say that you're the big teams, you have these nice big stadiums, you never have anybody show up to your games. I don't care. I don't care. It's you have nobody go. And you're so-called the biggest team in Mexico.
Yeah.
No, you're garbage.
Yeah.
Your fans are garbage. You're just garbage. You have a decent quality team. You have a good coach, but your fan base is just garbage.
Yeah, like I said, only won 3 games, only got 9 points. So yeah, I was kind of shocked to see them fall. But on the flip side, and we're going to see them against your Tigres October 7th. I'm shocked that Monarcas has found their way into the playoff mix at 8th place. I'm surprised because they're one of those teams we said at the beginning, forget this team, they're going to be in the bottom half.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked by that. But we just played them, I believe, on Friday or Saturday. We played Monarcas. We ended up 3-3. Mm-hmm. And the team that I seen from Monarcas, I mean, obviously our defense is a little bit shaky, but they look promising. But I had this idea that since they qualified last season into the playoffs, they scored the goal, and they beat Monterrey, and they qualified. I seen that these guys aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And obviously they're up in the top 8. These points add up, and they keep them on top of the table.
It obviously had an effect on them that they were this close to regulation last year, relegation, and so that plays a role. The other one I'm going to say shocked. Because I didn't have, they're one of those teams that I said, you've had a proud history, but you've been crappy lately. Cruz Azul's actually been cruising. The Cruz Azul's actually done well. They've racked up 15 points. They're in a solid 4th place spot. We'll see them against the Dynamo here in a game that doesn't count. It's a charity game. But, I know there's some Cruz Azul fans out there that I'm a little bit surprised, borderline shocked.
I feel like they got tired of getting pushed over and being made fun of for so long.
Yeah.
So I feel like they kicked it into gear.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see them in the playoffs. It would be pretty interesting. I haven't seen Cruz Azul in the playoffs in a while.
A couple of the notes I had, I just want to point out my last things, and I'll turn over to you. What are your last thoughts? My final thoughts, I'm not surprised, but Pachuca and Santos, 2 very proud teams that have always been in the mix, are really they've become mediocre. They've become kind of the mid-level to bottom feeders all of a sudden. And Pumas, if you have you Pumas fans out there, you have failed your test. I told you this is your chance to prove to me that you guys are back and you guys can do something this year. And I'd stop writing you because I've always been on the Pumas fans and the team because they've just been so bad. You're proving me right. Unfortunately, I wanted you to prove me wrong. Sitting there in 17th place, the same amount of points as lowly Puebla. Pumas, if you're not careful and you keep up like this, I get that you're a proud team, a long team, but you now had consistent seasons finishing in the bottom. And if this continues, you know what might be coming. And that's not going to be that would be a shocker if that happens.
In Mexico, this is a big thing. America, Chivas, Pumas, and Cruz Azul are so-called the big 4 teams of Mexico that represent. Obviously, America hasn't proved it. They prove it every once in a while. They've been kind of shaky, obviously after losing to Tigres in the final. They kind of fell off. They didn't qualify last season. Chivas, no comment on you. You just you're letting everybody down at this point. Cruz Azul was being made fun of for so long. I feel like they finally got fed up with it and said, "Hey, stop making fun of us. We're a good, decent team."
Yeah.
And then Pumas, you say you're a big team. You aren't anything. You're nothing. You are at the bottom right now.
And I haven't seen that fan base do anything in a long time. I haven't seen them anywhere. So before I wrap things up here, any final thoughts, Liga MX? Anything else you want to leave us with before I close this up?
Just tune in just stay. I will try and keep you guys updated on Liga MX. I get updates and stuff, and being part of the fan base, we get intel from Mexico and stuff like that.
Pay attention on the Facebook page. Raul will be updating you on that.
Yeah, just stay ready for that. I will keep you guys updated if there will be soccer during the week, this upcoming week, or if it's going to get canceled or not. But other than that, like I said, they will be coming to Houston. Well, they're having like a Texas tour. So if you guys want to go see and watch Tigres play, I say go out there and.
Well, and make sure you pay attention to the page in general. We have a lot of soccer coming up. We got the Dynamo in their playoff race. I'll be covering that. We have Champions League games next week during the week. We have everything going on with Liga MX. In a couple weeks, we got all these crazy qualifiers around the world happening. We will probably be bringing you another show in mid-October once things quiet down for us a little bit. We'll be able to give you a full breakdown by then. I'm hoping I can be reporting that the USA is qualified for the World Cup, but we'll see. So we'll probably come to you in about a month, probably less than a month, probably mid-October, and give you a full breakdown. By that point, we'll have a lot of questions answered. We'll know if USA is for real, is going to the World Cup. We'll know if the Dynamo can get their act together and actually prove to us that we have a playoff team for the first time in 5 years. We will know how Liga MX is turning out in terms of getting the schedule sorted out and getting towards their playoffs. So a lot of answers coming your way in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned into the page. We'll be very excited. Big show coming up, episode 10. So we thank all of you that have been following us. I see Richard out there. He's been joining us all the time. A couple other guys have been following us. We appreciate it. We do have a contest for this week, a giveaway. We have another Dynamo glass here, pint glass, along with the show shirt that you see in the foreground there, Texas Soccer Live t-shirt, and the one that Raul's wearing. It's right in front. We're going to give away one of those shirts, one of our show shirts, and this Dynamo pint glass. And how you get entered to the drawing for that is you have two options. Give us your prediction to where the Dynamo will be in the final standings. I want to know the place in the Western Conference from first down to last, the exact place they will finish in the West in the regular season, and a reason why. Post it to the page, message the page, whatever. Or if you're not into the Dynamo and you're more into the Liga MX, name the top 4 teams that will finish the league. They don't have to be in order. Pick me who are going to be the top 4 teams in Liga MX. If you give us your predictions, you are entered into the drawing. You don't have to be right on your prediction, but give us one of those 2 predictions with the reason why. So either where the Dynamo will finish in the final standings and why, or the 4 teams that will be the top 4 teams in any order for Liga MX at the end of the season, since both those seasons are coming to a very quick end in the next month. If you do that, and I'll put a post with these directions on the page. If you post the page, I will give you, let's say 1 week. Yeah. I'll give you 1 week from today, and then we will draw someone. I know Richard says we're for real when we give away stuff. I know Richard's out there. He's gotten a shirt from us. He's posted. I know Joe's out there, got a shirt. I know Joe's mom's out there. I know she's gonna watch it. Shout out to Joe's mom. I know she has a shirt. And so we'll get in touch with you and give you that. Anything you want to?
Before, obviously, like I said, I'm going to the 2 games. I'm going to try and bring you guys something different. I'm going to try and bring you a view of the inside of the fan base. So to see, like, the crazy movement, like, basically behind the scenes. So it's not just having fun, like, what's the planning and everything. So I'm going to try and bring that to you guys for both games.
Yeah, and I'm trying to go to one of the Dynamo games when they're back home, probably either the Galaxy game or Sporting QC, and I'm going to try and do the same thing. So we hope to bring you lots of, give you a few other shots, some inside stuff. So anyways, as always, comment, like, share the page, share this video, like the video, give us feedback. More interaction from you, the better. Follow the page and follow because we are constantly updating with nonstop news stories. Raul's been posting, I'm posting. The other Raul's posting. He couldn't be here tonight. He had to work. Raul. We don't have to worry about El Salvador making the World Cup. They've already out. Anyways, well, on that note, we appreciate you tuning in. As always, Texas Soccer Live. Keep watching soccer. Keep it with us. We'll see you next month. Thank you. Yeah.